So this morning I was scrolling back on a group chat that I have with some university friends who I've known for about a decade now, just over a decade maybe. And I don't know what it was, but I just felt called to go and scroll back on the chat and just see the kinds of things that we were talking about back in the day. And so I scrolled all the way back. I didn't make it right back to the beginning, but I scrolled all the way back to 2015. And I don't know why I feel called to share this story, but I'm sharing it. I don't know who it's going to land with, what the lessons are, but it's just something I realized about myself. And maybe it will resonate with some of you. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But I felt called to just share. And sometimes that's all we need to do is share. It doesn't have to be this big, profound insight or wisdom or well put together story before we're ready to do something. It's just stepping in and sharing where you're at and what's going on for you is enough for people to feel connected to you, to feel your authenticity, to feel your energy, to feel your pulse as you're going through life. You don't have to be well put together to do something, to express something, to take action on something. So scrolling back and 2015, I was having some message exchanges with one of my friends who's into finance. A couple of guys in the group were into finance. And I was just sharing about the economy and about recession and about investment banking and sovereign debt and all of these things, which I have no interest in whatsoever. And I don't even know why I was talking about it at that time. I must have been reading about it a lot at that time, but I have no interest in it. And so I was thinking back to like, where was my head at that time? And more importantly, where was I at emotionally at that time? Because everything we do and say is a reflection of where we're at emotionally, how we feel about ourselves. And I was riddled with insecurity. I was full of insecurity, and I was just feeling as if I'd had this burden to prove myself worthy of being who I am, of progressing in the world, of being clever, having people. I had this need, and probably still do to some extent, but definitely was amplified then. I could see it in the way I was talking and the types of things I was talking about. Is this need to be seen as clever and wise and having it all together and progressing and being intellectual. I don't know where that comes from, but it was definitely prevalent at that time in those message exchanges because it was who I was at that time. I was really did not like myself and probably internally felt like a failure. And so I felt the need to almost talk a big game so that I could hide the feeling of insecurity within myself. Because where I was at the time wasn't the ideal place that I wanted to be in. I mean, there were all decisions I'd made autonomously on my own. So I was living a life that was aligned to me at that time, but I really didn't like who I was. And the way things were unfolding at that time was very uncertain. And so all decisions that I made and the way I kind of went about my life was based on insecurity. How much of our lives do we live based on insecurity? So yeah, it just got me thinking like, how many things was I saying, doing? How was I living because I was fueled by insecurity? I guess, as I'm talking about this now, I invite you to think about if there's any part of your life, any part of your personality, any part of you that is being fueled by insecurity, the things that you say, how you show up, the actions you take, the decisions you make, are they being fueled by insecurity because you feel the need to prove yourself in some way? Anyway, I'll leave that with you today. Sending you so many blessings. So grateful for anyone who's taken the time to listen to this. I'm just eternally grateful to have this platform, to have a space to connect with you, to have this conversation. Yeah, what a blessing. One love. I'll talk to you soon.